have their final selection? Do they plan on combining something with the Janet, the Kit? You know, is that really? Okay, Sprout. So double thrower is what they've decided to go for. Sprout's one that was kind of knocking around in my head where like, okay, the Barley comes out, Sprout's not a bad matchup into that either. You've two throwers, should be good into the Barley. I honestly think that it could be a little cooked for KOZAKI into this double thrower, given that they only have Barley.
It's nice when the coin toss goes your way in that regard, when you can see the overall comp before you go double thrower, because ultimately it does leave yourself open to a big heavy counter if you don't. But I mean, this makes a lot of sense for me. Thinking back to that poll, Team Heretics have this advantage on event.brawlstars.com. It makes a lot of sense that there have been some new additions to the website now where it has like some win rates as well. So I imagine saying that it's 100% of a win rate over Team Heretics in favor of FA KOZAKI, when you know, maybe the casuals are looking at that site and sort of trying to ponder up who they're going to put on their predictions. Blue Star immediately into the pocket of Team Heretics already, and a good position on the map too. I mean, this is exactly what you don't want to have as a starting hand for FA KOZAKI, really, because against double thrower, it can be hard to claim back this territory.
I think it really comes down to Team Heretics to mess up in a colossal way for this one not to go precisely their way. It's quite early to call, but it's one of those situations where they pretty much already won it, because the only thing that KOZAKI can really do here is get Barley in a position, and it's going to be tough for him given that he's outranged and outdamaged by Drage. He is going to try and ameliorate the situation by placing down the gadget, which will get some healing for the squad, but that's really all it is able to do. It has cooldown, and additionally, you're only able to use it a few times a game. We'll see Heretics continue to keep them in this back right corner. As long as Heretics don't get too aggressive, then they should be perfectly fine. Lina also has a super to escape. Gugu's making good use of the fact that he's able to levitate over the water in the head form, basically become a worse Jackie, but still getting in position. Mebius on the right side gets the kill, and gets the elimination onto iKaos as well. KOZAKI with mid control once again. They've managed to make this happen by putting Gugu on the head form and having him circle around the left side.
Gugu played fantastic there for me. Really opened up the space, utilizing the out-of-line gadget as well to bring the leg form straight over the lake, and the walls that were placed by Chaos weren't enough to really deter it. But now, the arms to the skies, but the shot came from by Chaos, and that will get the lead back over to Team Heretics. With 10 seconds, Gugu has an opportunity still to come through this mid. They've got to focus their attention on him. Maybe it's low. He goes down to Drage, and taking down his Gugu just in the nick of time as well. Team Heretics, bring it back.
Nicely done by Heretics, and honestly, when they got overwhelmed there, I don't know if that was that much of a mistake, because what we saw from KOZAKI was they were using the fact that they just had a health advantage. They're playing into throwers, which, like, yes, Larry is getting crazy damage out here, but Janet, not really known for her damage so much, can get outranged in situations, and especially Sprout, it can be difficult to line the shot sometimes, doesn't do like that much damage. We'll see Mebius try and cement himself on the left side, but already encircled by the combo of iKaos and Lina. On the right side, Drage. They're sort of backing away from this lane versus Nob, but ultimately getting some support from Lina, keeping Mebius away so that he can continue to fight toe-to-toe with Nob on this right side. But he does have a disadvantage in terms of reload speed against Nob, which ultimately lets Barley get control of this right bush.
Well, Lina's already had a fantastic start. I mean, he's got super as well, probably not too far off getting a hypercharge to add to it, because that beginning part where he was just really spamming his shots into Gugu, forcing out again the out-of-line gadget to force back the Blue Star, still into the hands of FA KOZAKI, but the positioning, the entire mid was left, and this is the result. This is what we're seeing happening again, where Team Heretics can really kind of take a more forthcoming role in it, but now KOZAKI starting to bring themselves a bit more together in that regard, and be a bit more on the aggressive. Team Heretics have got the lead by 1 star, but back in the spawn is not where you want to be in a map like Canal Grande, and Nob can just try to keep this pressure on with some good splash damage. Then it could open things up for Gugu to get a couple of taps in there as well, as Mavis and Drage continue to dance on this right-hand side, and Drage now the low of the 2. That shot hit the wall, and that was a bit of but disastrous. Chaos gets the kill on the left-hand side, bringing the lead further into the hands of Team Heretics.
Nice play from iKaos. sensed an opportunity in the situation, went in with a hypercharge just so that he could two-shot the Barley. That's some Brawl IQ right there, knowing that you're able to get the two-shot with a specific combo of abilities, just knowing exactly how much damage it's going to do. Drage on the right side, taken down as the Kooky Popper eliminates him. It's only a 1-star lead for Team Heretics. They're all closed in on the left side. Drage likely the first to fall. Mebius claims the kill, but we also see RT zoom all the way back to mid. Lina trying to super in to get any form of damage that he can, but cannot do it. KOZAKI lead by 1 star to close out game 2.
KOZAKI doing well on the aggressiveness, and the timing that time round was much better. For me, Team Heretics not looking too comfortable a lot of the time. There's a good balance of aggression from both sides. That was much more a match in favor of KOZAKI there for me. Let's see this time round. Who's going to take this set? Quite an important one to kick things off. It's clearly a very matched level, and Lenan taking early to the skies this time around. I quite like that. We haven't really seen much of him on that Janet going to the skies. Oh, the landing! Really didn't do the justice of it. Maybe it's a nice Kooky Popper gadget as well there to finalize that kill, bringing the 3-star lead over to KOZAKI early on in the chaos. Now, oh, that wall perfectly placed in time because he was bang out of position there as well. Gugu knew it and was coming for him. Now, some catching up to do for sure here with Team Heretics.
So Gugu's playing the RT like a Jackie. He's also using the out-of-line gadget to pretty much abandon ship whenever it doesn't look good for him. But I bet he's wishing he had hacks right now just for that one specific scenario. iKaos is 1 tap from going down. You see Lina on the left side continuing to farm up the super, has that hypercharge ready to go. Not super interested in dealing with it right now. You see on the right side, iKaos and Drage are gradually keeping things back. But a good play from Lina. If they can get everyone into one little corner, then Lina does stand a very good chance of team wiping all of FA KOZAKI.
Yeah, holding on to it for the moment. 40 seconds remaining. I assume it's going to be a plan here for Team Heretics to try to get the lead early. Get the damage low enough before going in. That would be a great time for me for Lenan to do so, but he's playing it slow and cautious. And in the meanwhile, Gugu's healing back up as is Mavis. Nob now very low on that top right-hand side, not able to secure the kill on the side there of iKaos. But, I mean, how long does the Team Heretics leave this? I mean, everyone now full HP on the side of KOZAKI in a better spot than ever. And you really want to attack them when they're lowest. When you're with that hypercharge, and Lenan's got to go now, surely.
Ooh, iKaos pops down the hypercharge and the super. It's just 2v3. Lena's got to make it happen. There's one on a knob. Needs another. Gugu, ideally to break the tiebreaker, teleports to the back left. Cannot be reached. Slight miscalculation from Lina. He went for Mebius, who would have gotten them to 5 stars, but it wouldn't have got them the tie-breaking blue star. An error which might have just cost them the set, which now goes to FA KOZAKI.
You just need to wait so long. I don't know why. Like, the hypercharge is there at like 50 seconds on the clock, and I think you just got to go for it. Try and get the lead there, and if you can't, try and recollect yourselves and, you know, try it all over again. But I felt like Heretics kind of threw that a little bit for me.
I think what they knew is that they needed 2 kills and that it was going to be difficult against enemies that are backed away, and that also they could get themselves a much more comfortable lead by popping that Janet hypercharge and getting all 3 in one go, because it's something she's really good at as long as the enemies are close together, which they were actually on their way to doing. They just could not get it together in the end, and iKaos falling alone on the right side there at the end of game 3 was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, ramp up in execution from KOZAKI over the course of these 3 games, over the course of the set to take it. Now, what did we see from Team Heretics in that first game that they need to pull back into action to potentially swing this back in their favor there, Art?
Sorry, I missed the question.
Yeah, sorry, at the wrong time.
On the screen. It's the first time we've seen the caster reactions since the weekend started, so I wasn't sure whether it just came to our cameras for a moment there. Sorry, what was the question? Sounds I do apologize.
Yeah. What moisturizer do you use? Because you look great, dude. We saw Heretics looking so sharp in game 1, and they really sort of got run over by the time we got all the way down to the third of that set. I just want to know kind of what we saw in that first game. Did they trail off there, or was that just a full pickup from KOZAKI?
Yeah, a bit of lack of confidence for me. I feel like the communication there was a little bit off. There was times when I felt like the Nan was really the key moment maker to go in with that hypercharge on the Janet, where you've just got a fantastic ability then to really control your movements in the skies and drop some serious firepower down onto the ground. And I think that what Drage and I guess was trying to do was whistle down the HP to a point where Lenan could come in and just get a full sweep of everything, but they just didn't really seem to time that, in my opinion. I think that there was a moment earlier when they could have done so, but it would have meant that they probably would have come back with the lead, but then had to hold on to that lead, and that's where they were trying to make the timing such that they could just kind of like secure all the kills and not give KOZAKI the opportunity to respond. But they left it too late, and by the end of it, as we saw at the end, KOZAKI got one singular kill, and then the whole house of cards came tumbling down, and just didn't seem confident. The approach was not really right there for Team Heretics, and KOZAKI stayed firm under a lot of pressure. So credit to them as we move into Heist now for Safe Zone, as the ban's already in. The Penny, the Angelo, and the Melody pick ban out rather by Team Heretics. And on the side of KOZAKI, the Bell, the Amber, and the Angelo all banned out here, which does leave then for me Eve, as the Angelo banned out on both sides, does then give a bit more of an opportunity for that Brawl to make a bit more of an appearance. But yeah, first pick, love that. A great pick from KOZAKI. It turns a lot of some of the longer range brawlers as well, like brawlers like Piper have a tough time into it as well. So Melody first ban though, I love that from Team Heretics. You kind of have to have it. Carl's still open, Daryl's still open, some options to go on the aggressive to get to that safe as well though ready. So definitely plenty of options here on the cards.
I'm looking at something to deal with this Eve. Usually, not one that you specifically move to counter. You see Juju selection here from Heretics. Sometimes can falter when it comes to the range matchup, but she does have some indestructibles she can fire over on that lane if she wants to take on the Eve, or whatever comes through the right lane. At least from our perspective, Eve is going to be coming from the left side. I anticipate that's going to be Colette's role. Maybe they're leaving that last pick open. Colette can flex wherever necessary. She's such a great pick here on Safe Zone. I'm seeing some potential for something like a Brock maybe in the future. Good save damage. You have that with your main attack, with the super hypercharge. Never can complain about that. Piper, another great selection. And taking a look at the bans, I'm also going to point out that we haven't seen like a Chuck picked or anything. He's not as viable as he used to be. Gets countered by a lot of different things. You don't want to be feeding like a Colette or something like that, but always one to keep in the back of your head in Heist.
I love the pairing, it's perfect here for me for KOZAKI. Juju definitely is a big, heavy threat. Don't get me wrong. Some spicy picks in this one. Certainly the Juju I love here, because once you're positioned in an aggressive spot on the map, able to sit on that lake area, the splash damage has the slow effect added to it. No bushes really, except for the far right hand side, so Chaos really looking to take that kind of lane if he can. But now this Chuck from KOZAKI does need to be countered by Team Heretics here in a very aggressive fashion. That is really how you go about it. You don't want to allow the Chuck time to set up, and that's what Nob and Mavis' roles, or whoever's going to be playing the Piper and the Eve on the side of KOZAKI, they are trying to really deter that setup process and just go in very, very quickly on the defensive, really, to allow that offensive route to be set up. The Carl coming in for Heretics does speak that same story to me very nicely. Get the Carl on the safe and just go to town with that pickaxe. Have the Colette try to support with the Juju and just allow that channel to be open. But certainly KOZAKI going to be a setup process to get this win, and Team Heretics are going to be doing everything they can to deny it.
Carl's going to fulfill numerous roles here. He's going to be able to slice through the Eve pads pretty easily. He'll be able to reposition easily if he decides to run Flying Hook, which is, I think, probably the gadget of choice here. We'll have to see if Lena decides that he's going to earn his way to the enemy safe and then get additional damage with the Heat Ejector gadget instead. You see Chuck opt for the right lane to get that first post down. It's going to take him 3 total to get to the enemy side. Might decide to put another one. Yes, he's going to run the gadget to eat that post and then get another super down onto the safe. So this can be a pretty speedy setup. Team Heretics, they need to make a lot happen before we see the first Chuck super in. Not seeing a gadget out of the Chuck, interestingly enough. So he's just decided to pop a couple down at mid, I suppose, as Team Heretics are now taking a bit of damage from that Chuck on their save.
Yeah, it was a good start from Heretics there, but then Drake actually was trying to use the super on defense. He actually went down to kill feed, I noticed there as well. So not the greatest of defenses, and now the Chuck is set up. I'm not sure on the sort of the post in the middle of the map there, but we'll see how that fares. Juju's now able to get access to the safe at the very least. Chaos, though, on the safe with Drage now, going in nicely there. Some good damage, but it's a pretty even matchup when you look at that, all things considered. Lenan forcing Nob to jump over the wall there, but all three members of Team Heretics are on the safe now and getting damaged. And meanwhile, the Chuck will be going in as well. It's really quite the base race here.
Okay, Colette Hypercharge in from Drage. Elimination of the safe. And a win here for Team Heretics. We've found out what was going on with that Chuck post. He put the first one down so that he could just get his setup going on. And then when he was at the enemy safe, looks like that final post to get to the safe didn't really have enough range. So he then replaced it, that initial post that was placed in mid, with the one that would allow him to go through the safe and get the additional damage. So that's the math there. It's a 4-post setup. It's just, he can't really effectively push up too much to get that middle post, that first one, into its final destination just on the first shot.
Well, going for a post onto Chaos there as well. As he pops the gadget. Invisibility now, so the Gugu doesn't know he's even there. Going through the mid, and some good taps by Drake, but Gugu stays alive. Drake connects to the safe, and now Chaos and Lenan, most importantly, swinging the pickaxe, getting the damage. They've got to deal with Lenan. This is a bit of a base race, but nonetheless, very much more in the favor of Team Heretics.
Nebius trying his best to defend Lenan, keeping him in close range. Pickaxe swing to take him down. iKaos and Drage now laying those shots in. Gugu on the Chuck, forced to defend. Thankfully, Nebius has his back. Long range shot onto Drage. Also keeps him back. Another follow-up from Nebius. The clock is ticking for Team Heretics because this Chuck is going to be constantly cycling towards their safe. We also see the Eve Hypercharge come out, blocking a few more shots. Thankfully, iKaos, he's specialized in taking down turrets as a thrower. Lenan now in with the reposition. No CC to keep him back, and a Team Heretics win in set 2.
Really nicely done. Really nicely done. Under pressure, as the start was not the greatest in that first set for Team Heretics. But the strategy that evolved was the correct one. It's very difficult against the Chuck. You know, it can really escalate out of control. And sometimes you know that it's the final push coming through, and you know, you've got to be able to defend against it and get that balance. But they did that. They went on the aggression, and they got the job done. All tied up now in this series. Exciting stuff.
Now, Ark, you mentioned their strategy evolving over the course of that game. Tell me a little bit about how you saw that evolution kick in, and really which player that started with.
I think for me, Team Heretics have to be very cautious to like stay firm and stay on their feet the whole way through. Getting, for me, Chaos into that top right pocket from the beginning, like I said, was really quite going to be key. Juju then can be within the grass, have an additional range to her attack, and keep that pressure onto that spawn side. And the Chuck is still looking to set up during this time. So if they had any kind of like, you know, silly deaths along that path at the beginning for Team Heretics, then they're going to be immediately placed under pressure. But getting that starting point in place was really quite key, making Drage that kind of pinnacle in the middle, getting our Chaos to the right, and you know, giving Lenan that ability to go on the aggressive, to get towards the safe with that flying hook. And they did that really, really nicely, because again, like I said, with a Chuck, you can fall behind very quickly, and then you're up against the wall. You're under so much pressure, and you're just always finding yourself on the defense, because you're just going to keep coming back to your save every single time. So the setup process there was as important really for Team Heretics as it was there as well for KOZAKI.
I think we saw some creativity there with Chuck setups. We saw 2 different ones, and we also noticed that Chuck wasn't, devouring the post to get his super back. So, okay, he's running the other gadget, I guess. And yeah, so he was. It only got used once in game number 2. It didn't get them the win. But creativity definitely gets some kind of merit. But really, in the end, your objective is to win, man. It didn't really get them there all the way. We're going to be heading into a brand new draft here on Out in the Open, and as that map intro indicated, yeah, you can break that wall in order to get easier passage into mid, but it won't be happening with Brock. It's been banned out by Team Heretics.
Artie picked up first here by KOZAKI. I want to see the Gust then as a countermeasure here for Team Heretics. For me, that's kind of like where I would be thinking. Certainly the range of fair going to be quite crucial here to get right. Juju banned, as I think she pretty much always should be, regardless of the map and mode, in my opinion. So always a good thing to see in that regard. The Angelo banned, the Brock as well, the Buster and the Pearl. I mean, the Pearl often gets forgotten about as well, so I'm quite pleased to see that that Brawl has not been left out on that side of things. Jing going to come in now as well, Team Heretics. It's an interesting first pick. Of course, the healing puffs, when your teammates kind of collaborate together, underneath that star power are going to be quite helpful for the long game. But there's a lot of long-range brawlers that are still left out here. Like I say, I'd like to see Gus paired with this Gene. I think it'd be quite a good, nice idea. And if not, it'd be absolutely considered by KOZAKI. But Piper, Mandy as well is a good one that's often left out on this particular map. Some wall break potential as well from that magic hand. Probably not going to be too helpful, you know, really only when you're on the defense to break through your own kind of like spawn side. So that's a consideration. They can find something to pair alongside this. Eve going to come in, quite like it. Definitely going to be finding itself on that left-hand side, or at least the lake side of this map. But with Angelo banned, it makes a lot of sense to me.
I think into this Gene, you have to evaluate, like, what are really my options? What has a spawnable that can block a Gene pull? Also, into a Gene, any amount of the time you're facing an enemy that is constantly healing, even if it's a trickle amount, you're also getting tickled the whole time, so you can't heal Penny. And this was the first one on my mind, is yes, you're able to block a Gene pull this way, but are you really going to be getting your turret? Now, it's easier now than ever. She has that hypercharge that she has to earn, sure, but really I'm talking about the fact that she has longer range now by a few units there, and this has been a major change to Penny that's made her a lot more viable kit selection out now. From FA KOZAKI, a very team-focused support brawler, can get them a good counter to a thrower if necessary, and also can be extremely frustrating to deal with if your team Heretics with that closing around the left side. Thankfully, though, I think Eve should be able to hold down the fort. She won't be too vulnerable. She can jump away. Obviously, you don't want to leave Drage for dead, but there are countermeasures available. Kit still, I think, should be viable.
A Kit over Gus, you know, and sorry, we need to now talk about this. Poco over Gus? No, Gus? I don't know. Like, that seems very odd to me. I mean, the synergy with the Kit, I'm just trying to kind of see what the plan is there. I mean, like, yeah, you can disable a player and keep them static and allow maybe the RT to creep up and use the leg form to just instantly eradicate, or maybe a Penny turret might be able to lock on during that time, but it's a very small window of opportunity. And the Poco is just a brawl that I haven't seen here for the longest of times. I really don't know, like, what is behind this idea. I mean, I certainly not in place of a Gus, but I mean, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. It's just not what I was expecting in any fashion. I mean, maybe it's a response to the Kit is my only consideration there, and trying to, you know, just give quick, immediate heals, but I'm not too sure about this.
Well, we have world finalist Brawl Stars player, repeat ones, consistent ones at that, who have made the decision that Poco is better than Gus in this situation. And I think I'm going to follow their lead here. But we still need to see how exactly this maths out, because there's not an optimal matchup for this Poco over here. Maybe his gadget will be of use to them, but
exactly the
for
gadget.
now it's not really doing much.
It's the only thing that makes sense really, is that the protective tunes to really sort of eliminate the stun from the Kit. But is that worth picking as a countermeasure? I mean, I'm still not convinced it is, but certainly for Team Heretics, they were really quite deterred by that Kit pick, and that was the only thing on their minds. Now the cardboard box going on the left-hand side. Chaos jumps away, now attaches himself to Mavis as well. There's going to be a lot of heals, and I feel really much more like I'm with KOZAKI in this affair, as all of Team Heretics crumble to the enormity of this comp.
It's what you pointed out, like, yes, protective tunes can get rid of the stun, but it's not going to prevent your enemy from combining into this monstrosity of RT with his damage and also his health, and then Kit gets to do like 3k a shot with the shot that he can throw over walls. It's a tough one for them to deal with. Team Heretics now have clued themselves in and realized, okay, we got to go aggro, but they're effectively facing a fourth brawler here. Now they have the Penny turret constantly laying down this fire. It's going to be about 3k damage per shot, so they can't get hit by that. And it'll make their movement a little bit more predictable. Should be easier for Gugu and Mebius to line up the shots as it was.
For me, I think Gus would have been their shout, trying to get the early kills. The Kit's only got really one option to attach to. But, I mean, for the moment, Team Heretics have got to deal with this. And on a map that's really hard to do so. Once that Kit attaches and the aggressiveness comes into play, as long as all three members are standing for KOZAKI, I think it's just like a guaranteed round. Leg form available for Gugu, as is the jump for Nob as well here. Maybe it's slow, he might choose to jump. Now the cardboard box gadget comes in, and Chaos immobilized, now pulled away. But Drage, Nob in a precarious position, but stays standing, as all three members of KOZAKI do, and they get the game.
Eye-watering right there, as you pull that Kit away from your teammate, but they're still stunned. That and your Gene and Poco, you've approximately 0 damage out there. I think we are yet to really see why this Poco was selected. And it's not even just like Gus in particular. I feel like there are several other brawlers that would have been a much safer selection. A lot more of generalists and not as niche of a brawler like Poco is going to be in this specific matchup. And there's entirely the possibility that it was actually just a mistake. But it's really all theorizing. Hopefully we get to get some answers from them later. For now, what we do know is that FA KOZAKI are running the show here in Knockout.
Well, if it's a mistake, A, it's unforgivable, and if it's legit a countermeasure to the kit, which is what I think it must be, it's not working. So it doesn't even warrant the pick in itself. So it's a mistake regardless. On the right hand side, though, invisible, Chaos jumps away, but that was a chance then potentially for KOZAKI to seal that Chaos. Eve Jump going to be helping out so much in that regard. And Kit detaching there, even better of it. It makes a lot of sense to try to get the timings that Super then can be available later on in this match when the gas starts to close in. So I don't mind that at all from Nob there at all. But we want to see more aggression from KOZAKI here going in to try to deter this inevitable outcome, in my opinion, of these moments where they're just going to stay standing towards the end. Nob goes in, and that was a mistake. He did not land on a single person, and that is given a glimmer of hope now for Team Heretics to secure themselves at least a round here.
Seeming error from FA KOZAKI there, but they still managed to get some value. Penny, also with the additional damage, she did lose that final 1v2 as is expected, but she got her turret earlier on, and thanks to the bonus damage, she's going to be getting closer to that hypercharge, which she'll be trying to cycle out. That is a game-winning condition right there. Given that they had at least a couple rounds to win this game, going to be playing the long game here, thinking about getting that turret for the final round, especially a hypercharge one, which probably closer to that hypercharge than the next turret, waiting for things to close in to actually get that opportunity. And for the time being, Team Heretics have opted to take a more reduced approach with Drage, especially hanging back. They can get a solid pull out here. That would be paramount. But Mebius is ready with the Salty Barrel, so Drage needs to find a target that is not going to get body blocked by Mebius.
Yeah, Drage does need to connect this magic hand for sure. It's going to be a really tough thing to do because like so much evasive technique behind every brawl on the other side of the field here. Now the kit attachment is there. The hypercharged turret going down from Mebius, and they really wanted that round for that reason because that's utility they haven't got now. But they really want this set that badly to use it there. So let's see whether it was going to pay off now as whoever takes this round for Team Heretics allows them to stay in the question. Oh, hypercharge early for Drage here, going in with the magic hand and not even going to pull one off, just simply to get some grounding on the map and some positioning. Let's see how this fares.
Yeah. It got them good position. Got Drage in a position. Now he has that he has that super ready to go. Chaos caught off guard. Now combining the Kit and Gugu together, but not really much coming of it. Kit immediately dismounting so you can get that super once again. But Heretics have these guys against the wall. Lana has a heal. It's one of the first heals that we've really seen him hang on to. So maybe we'll finally get to see that Poco make a play.
Drage still hanging on to the magic hand, but now the gas coming in. Super available now for Nob. Just the right time as the gas coming in. Gugu going to jump in. Leg form available for him as well, and he places them down. Now Chaos trying to get some taps. The heal there was clutch from Lanan as well, but now the kit connection is there, and Drage is low, and he should probably fall down to at least the gas here, and he will. It's going to be a team wipe for KOZAKI. They take the set.
2-1 so far. KOZAKI leading and seemingly on the path to make this win happen for themselves against Heretics once again. But this time, Heretics don't get a second chance in a lower bracket. It's all or nothing. In a round one exit for Heretics would be catastrophic for a team looking to make a postseason run. You need to be, at minimum, getting the quarterfinals win. I still don't see the math on this Poco. He's not known for his damage, but 43 is especially dwarfed by what you see from KOZAKI out here. Mebius leading with 153 damage per second, but Gugu made a crazy combo with Nob, especially as we saw in the final round of the final game, where he practically became invincible into the Gene and the Poco, who do basically no damage.
And they did not bring home the goods. There's a lot of healing and a lot of survivability here on the side of KOZAKI, and the response is a melody. I mean, you can dance around the zone and try to stay on the objective, but I don't know.
I think the mindset here is probably, let's stop this at its source, because what is really enabling the Frank, he's a bit of a self-starter because he has the most health in the game, gets a hypercharge for free as he charges it while taking damage, which is one of the things that you do when you have a lot of health. But into the Poco, I think, is really the mindset. He is going to be completely helpless against the Melody. I think now he's going to be pretty tethered to that Frank. Also keep in mind that as Melody, you're not going to have any struggle at all getting your hypercharge and your super versus this enemy composition. The kit probably is going to stay away from you, but the Frank, the Poco, you outrange them. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, but already FA KOZAKI, they hold W and they spam that auto aim, because what else really needs to be done? You got so much health, so much damage on your side. The survivability is paramount.
Ooh, this is what I mean. Like, is this Melody pick going to be really enough here? I mean, now Drake's getting a fantastic positioning, and that's great for Lana. The aggressiveness of that man never ceases to amaze me, and it's a perfect brawler for him. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, can this consistently happen? I think that for me, KOZAKI have done such a fantastic job in this draft and given a real problem for Team Heretics. Despite all the healing, despite the tankiness, they are making it work. However, let's see whether they can continue to do so. It's going to be very, very close here. They are in a good position for it. Not now using the cardboard box. Invis found then by Heretics and attaching himself to Gugu. Forces his way forwards. Look at the percentage with 50% apiece.
Okay, Gugu Nob finally separated by force. FA KOZAKI find themselves all the way back at spawn. Did you have another push ready to go? Nob really wants his super. Does have it now, decides to go for the stun onto Drage. Cannot execute, can't get the kill just yet. Gugu trying to kill him, but the hypercharge healing from iKaos is just too much to get through. And Team Heretics, no, they've already gotten this one. The only point where it looked a little shaky for them was at the beginning. FA KOZAKI walked straight in and spammed their attacks, and it was done then. But I think it was just a moment that was required for Melody to get her super cycled out before she could start getting in and making some moves. Cutting off Poco from the rest of the team, I think, was the biggest problem for KOZAKI.
iKaos is so cracked. So cracked. I'm not being funny, but I kind of give that win entirely in favor of him in that match, because he was bringing in so many heals. The angles that he was lining everything up with that berry pick were absolutely insane, and I think it's far from over. But he is really doing a fantastic job of just keeping everything alive. And then Lenan is that player that's always going to be going on the aggressive. I'm still reservating a little bit on this Melody pick, but as I'm saying it, he's showing me every reason why I shouldn't. Double take down the right-hand side, and fantastic stuff. Look at Chaos. Already got the hypercharge available for him. I think there's definitely every chance that KOZAKI can bring this back, but this berry pick really is the catalyst for me in this Team Heretics comp.
Double hypercharge out, but iKaos and Lana can't get the kill. As a result, Nob falls, and Mebius doesn't have the DPS to take it down. Pops a hypercharge super out, but no shield onto Gugu. Just trying to get that additional damage on the point. Drage staying alive thanks to the gadget, but iKaos and Lana clean up, and they are gapping FA KOZAKI right now by a staggering margin.
It's just how many supers is Chaos cycling? It's actually ridiculous. It's mad. He goes again straight in, gets the damage, gets the heals, and I mean, just wonderful stuff. Absolutely brilliant from Team Heretics. Was not convinced by it at the beginning at all until that first retake. That's when things really started to say, hey, this could work. Wow, unbelievable retake of things. And that might just be enough momentum to give them a bit of a big boost going into the 5th and final set, because that's where we're going with this one.
Huge stuff out here for Heretics. That matchup worked out for them. The Draco and the Frank, not really an issue, because what's happening here? Oh no, I'm taking damage from Frank. Oh no, he's gonna stun me. Wait, I've been stunned exactly where I want to be, inside of the berry healing, which is feeding him super, which is also feeding him hypercharge, which he's cycling out all the time. I mean, look at the damage and the kills here for iKaos. Obviously, Lana leading the team with 12 kills and 610 DPS. He was nutty because it was no issue at all for him to get those notes, get the hypercharge, and go to town.
You know, when we started introducing this match, we hyped up the fact that this was a rematch. It went the distance last time they went head-to-head. We had the community predictions come in. They were right down the middle nearly, with a little favor for KOZAKI here. Now that we've watched this matchup and we're heading into this 5th match here, how accurate do you feel like the community and all of this history has come to bear, Art?
It's really quite impressive for me to see that, you know, Team Heretics have fought back in that set. I didn't see it necessarily myself. I think considering just how much of a blunder there was in that knockout set, I wasn't sure that that was going to be the case. I think even looking on the faces of the players themselves, they weren't convinced actually even going into the set, despite it looking very convincing as to how the draft actually prevailed. But I mean, you know, like I said, I was actually not a fan of the Melody pick, but I'm much more to it now that I've seen that Lenan's stats were just phenomenal in that set. I just felt like it maybe wasn't the best of the brawlers there, because I think the Berry, I mean, was doing, for me personally, more. I mean, maybe the stats didn't say the same story, but I think that Chaos really was the man of the moment there for me. But how this fifth and final set's going to go, I don't know, honestly. I've seen both sides displaying some fantastic work, and both sides as well, you know, displaying some moments of in my opinion, weaker drafts. I would say it's happening more so though on the side of Team Heretics, and I wouldn't be surprised if KOZAKI bring this home, and that would be one of the biggest upsets we've seen all weekend if that happens.
It's time for some last stop action. First selection now, coming out from Team Heretics. Things to look out for. The strong mids, definitely a direction you should head with your first selection, unless you're going for something that's more of a flex. And also got to be wary of keeping your mid safe from some of those bushes that encroach on the left and right of the map. If you're mid, you're probably pocketing yourself sort of towards the bottom right of the map. Looks like a lane selection right off the bat. Lola, what does she do? She does damage. That is what she does. Counterable? Sure. Worth countering? I don't think so. Just going to be good, solid damage, and also a way to scout out some of those bushes.
Such an important draft now for Team Heretics, who in my opinion have definitely got more pressure on themselves. I mean, when you go back to the history of this very matchup, of course, in the qualifying stages, despite Gugu not being on the roster when that was the case, did get the win. This is what the matchup was when KOZAKI qualified for this monthly final, knocking Team Heretics down to that lower bracket, forcing them to have to then fight it out against Reply Totem to get here. Now, with everything that happened between last year, between Gugu and Drage, and it's all come full circle. A lot of pressure now for Team Heretics, the biggest of roster announcements we've had in Rostermania, all depending upon draft. Pearl coming in now for KOZAKI. Quite like that pick. I think when it comes down to that lane side, really tough to penetrate through, and the Gus, you know, I mean, Pearl's already tanky as it is. Combining a Gus shield to her is just, oof, dirty stuff. I like, though, the Lola. Very underrated pick that I think is really finding a nice spot in some maps. Look at Lenan as well, just giving a little bit of a side there as well. It's pressure. It's pressure that I don't think Team Heretics themselves expected to have at this stage of the competition.
Well, look at how disjointed this is between Heretics and KOZAKI. Just the contrast. KOZAKI, they're playing from home. Team Heretics, they are in the compound, in the jerseys, in the chairs, logos everywhere, camera crew are filming them, and they are expected to win. They cannot trip up at just the first obstacle. It's not really what you want to be showing the org. And this isn't me reprimanding them. This is me telling you what is going through their heads right now. Leon, now selected by Team Heretics. This one went through my head just a little bit with that Pearl selection from FA KOZAKI, because I was trying to place why exactly was this selected. And Leon is very much countered by Pearl. Maybe they didn't want to give this to KOZAKI.
We've seen that kind of idea though, and a lot of the time, is it worth the strategy? You kind of want to give yourselves the best possible chance rather than try to spin a draft, taking brawlers away from your opposition. But Leon, I mean, these ideas and drafts from Team Heretics, sometimes they work, but sometimes they don't. That's the problem with this. I'm kind of more with KOZAKI. I think that the 8-bit is a good pick here. Can be susceptible though, that's the problem. The Gus for me and the Pearl is where the kind of glue is on the side of KOZAKI here. Leon is a risk. With Lenan's hands, it could be a risk that actually really does pay off. It's definitely more of that kind of like Lenan-based brawler pick. The gene's probably going to be in Drage's hands. And if that's the case, I want to see more connections with Magic Hand that we didn't really kind of see in Knockout early today. And this is going to be the case. So Chaos there, the right-hand side. Again, a man that's always the supporting role. And that's what they need right now on the side of Team Heretics. So he's really got to come through for his team as well.
Not an ideal lane matchup for Leon right off the bat. Also, Mebius diffing Chaos on the right. I don't think Team Heretics really expected this at all. I mean, they went this Gene over here thinking, okay, KOZAKI already picked their mid. They went for the Gus over here. Nope. Now we're going for the 8-bit. And they actually could have gone Bell and been good into both 8-bit and Pearl at the same time. I'm sure they're kicking themselves over this because this Gene is going to do absolutely nothing to the 8-bit. It's going to come down to iKaos and Lana to fix this issue.
That is a very, very good point. You know, and Drake gets the magic hand off regardless, despite, I mean, sure, he was invisible at the time in the Lollipop drop, but still, I mean, that's really a time that you want to be bringing the cheat cartridge gadget to get away from the circumstances. A massive, massive blunder here from KOZAKI. With only one gem needed now for countdown. You can't make mistakes like that. And the Nun coming from behind there, a beautiful takedown. The gems are with Drake regardless, so he can still continue to go on the aggressive. What have KOZAKI done? You've got to catch it quicker than that.
That's tough right there. Nob's still going to advance forward. 5 seconds left to go. Drage at the back right. Impossible to reach. Mebius trying to line up the shots, but they miscalculated. It's a guessing game, and they lost the coin flip. Guess the left side of the bush instead of the right. But Heretics cannot be comfortable here. As soon as that final selection of 8-bit comes in, I think they knew, shoot, we just lost this draft. And that really starts to set in when you're iKaos on this, yes, on the Lola. Facing the Gus, he's going the left side this time in hopes of not facing the Gus. Nope, Pearl's going to the right side. Lana diffs him right off the bat before she can even get any of that heat fired up and get the gadget to do catastrophic damage. Team Heretics off to a good start now on this match point.
I'm taking candy for a baby, but you got to do it twice. You know, that is the thing. That was not going Team Heretics' way, in my opinion, until that moment in time. It wasn't going badly. Certainly the start was not going well at all. Drake now forced to come back as losing his teammate there of Lenon means that he's out of position, and now Chaos falls as well, meaning that he's going to be even further back and under pressure. Allowing Gu to get back into a good spot on the right-hand side now, but he's being a bit cautious, actually, maybe overly so on this right-hand side, popping the gadget there as well. iKaos will burn then and be visible in that invisibility shielding. Popping the ego as well. Does tank it, but still goes down. Some big beams there from Nob. The Gems deficit now being claimed back by KOZAKI, and a huge cookie popper there from Mebius. Gems shot to be picked back up again. iKaos taking no chances in that regard. But, ooh, this is looking shaky.
Drage has this pull. Who's he going to go for? Got to scout out Gugu, find his position. Is he worth pulling? He's got the shielding. He has so much health. If they can get him down, then maybe it's worth pulling just to enforce a 3v2. Mebius on the left side is giving Lana a hard time. See at mid, Nob keeping up that pressure. So much damage at range. Down goes Drage. iKaos with a kill, but also a fall on the left. Lana goes down. iKaos with 9 gems, completely encircled. He decided to risk it all. Drage now coming in. Gugu taken down. Nob now getting as many gems as he can. That's enough. No pull for Drage, and Nob gets to safely teleport all the way to the back lines with the countdown.
Hypercharge from Lana on top left-hand side, but can he find anything to get close enough? I don't think so. There's too many bodies there, and Google as well being a big, heavy deterrent of that fact. Hypercharge pop. No way! Team Heretics is going to be able to get close to these gems. It's going to be going the distance. It's a match point scenario there. You know, Drake's trying to bait out the pull. I know what he was trying to do there. He was trying to make the 8-bit go prematurely, and it did not happen. The hands were just kept cold and still. Hard exterior on the side there of KOZAKI. And again, you know, this is what I'm worried about. It's not looking clean for Team Heretics. They're depending upon mistakes being made by KOZAKI. And KOZAKI there played it much, much better. Got to play it much more cautious, in my opinion. But get that balance between aggression. Gugu there being a good, heavy tankiness side on that right. And Lanan's going to have to try to get rid of him earlier. He pushed up so deeply in that last game, and it just was a problem that they couldn't take care of. Drake missed that pull as well leading up to things, and that was quite costly.
Gugu's popped 2 gadgets in order to win the lane on the right. And, well, the saying goes, win lane, win game. Drage pops a gadget. Look at that. He's already used every single one of them. And he hasn't gotten a super just yet. So far, gem score equal. Nob looking to get in position to get number 3. Doesn't really want to feed that pull, but also knows that he should be safe from it. I'm assuming the wounds of game 1 have not yet healed. It's not been long enough. Drage and iKaos now moving in to grab gems number 4 and 5, soon to be 6. Nice. iKaos won that lane on the right. Nicely done by Lana as well, circling around the left side. Much better start from Team Heretics in what looks like in many ways a losing matchup.
Great timing there for the gem spawns. Honestly, there's like 4 gems that they were able to establish by going on the aggressive, by getting that positioning. And the hypercharge now from Lenan desperately needed going in. The cheat cartridge there will force back, then knob to the damage booster. But that allows the pull to connect with Gugu finally for Drage. 9 gems, 1 more coming in. It might be enough time as long as like Chaos and Lenan are there for the support. They'll be so cautious of maybe it's now. We might be able to pop a gadget at just the right time. They can't even force this gem. There's too much pressure. Not below, however, if he goes down, might open a little bit of a door. The moment is KOZAKI who are fighting so hard to delay things, but it might be the inevitable running away from them.
Drage with the hypercharge out, looking for number 10. Knob focused on the knob. Pull on the knob. That's the final nail in the coffin. Just 10 seconds to go. Drage, the president, protect him, put him at the back at all costs. Mebius pushing in, has that super ready to move. Knob with the hypercharge, closing in, super down. Could line up the shots on a Drage for the countdown eruption, but it's not gonna happen. 800 health keeps him alive, but not a confident one at all. A look of relief. Size coming out. And Lana, take a rest, man. You need it. Clutched up in that final one on the Leon into tough matchups for the entire Heretics squad. Just like that, I imagine the remainder of the year, the entire precedent that they set with this match flashed before their eyes as they were just 1 game away from losing their very first match as Team Heretics.
Scary swap for any team to be in, especially scary because, as you called out, Reddy, their whole organization is in that room. So I can hear you guys reacting to the exciting end of that match. I cannot imagine the energy in that place, Reddy.
Oh, I mean, goodness. I picture for the staff of Team Heretics, they're like, yeah, let's go. Semifinals next, right, guys? And we see iChaos, we see especially Lana and Drage just sort of, they're like, whew, all right, let's, it's a good thing we got another couple of quarterfinals ahead of us because I'm going to need to take a walk outside real quick.
Yeah, taking a look at the bracket there, we'll let Team Heretics take a little walk too, get a breather, because they've got a rally. They're going up against Humble in the semifinal. But, like Reddy said, we've got 2 more quarterfinal matches to get through. Foot Esports and Team Electros coming up next, followed by SK and Parpara Supermassive. So, gentlemen, we have so much to get through here. EMEA is bringing all the fire that you promised. But, Ark, what are you looking forward to most?